Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast.
Well, hello, Aki.
Well, hello, Stevie.
How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm so excited. Here we are. We're talking about episode 2 of season 4. It is stardate 1421128.9, and the episode is entitled Anomaly. It's very exciting stuff. Yes. So, well, hello to all of our listeners out there and those of you catching this live on Patreon. You want to say a little something about the Patreon, Stevie?
Yes, we have one. That's exciting enough as it is. Yes, patreon.com/setphasers. You can join us for lots of things. You'll get behind-the-scenes access to all of the live episodes as they happen, because that's fun. And we do them on video, so you can see our faces as well.
We have faces.
Our faces. You'll also get access to our monthly Netflix watch party, although we may have to change the format because Netflix has removed most of Star Trek. So because everything's moving to Paramount Plus. Yes. However, we will get together once a month to watch Star Trek together as a group of nerds, which is rather fun. Did I miss anything?
Yes.
Any other
Find
fun
some
things?
way to do it. We shall.
Some fun things. And early access to
I
episodes.
believe that's
I forgot to
everything.
mention.
That's everything.
And that's
Of course,
at
you'll get early access to our
patreon.com/setphasers.
episodes. Patreon.com/setphasers.
Oh, yes. Let's run it down.
Shall we run down this crazy episode?
To run it down. Can you run it down for me? Tell me what just happened. Can you run it down for me?
Wonderful. Let's run it down, Aki. What a crazy episode. What happened?
This episode was bonkers. Well,
Bananas.
it moves things along, as we may recall. First episode of season 4, basically, Starfleet was getting back on its feet. Federation, there's a president, there's a new Archer space dock. Things are going great. Everybody's smiling at everybody, everywhere. Then Discovery has to jump away to figure out what's going on with the space station that's spiraling out of control. It was hit by some kind of space anomaly. They figure out how to deal with that, but at the same time, the anomaly attacks Book's home planet of Quajon, killing basically everyone on it. Not basically. I'm sure it killed everyone on it, except for Book, who had just flown up to see what was going on. So we begin episode 2 with Book. He's basically locked himself in his ship for like 2 days, and he's like going over footage, I guess, that he got when he was trying to inspect things, and he has not processed his grief. Michael shows up and tries to sort of reach out to him, but he's completely non-responsive. But good news, Saru is back on board. He's come through since the anomaly. So Saru is there with his sweet red uniform, tall and handsome, and he's got his brooch from his planet, which is pretty sweet. Little flower thing. And he basically comes on. He becomes Michael's number 1. So he's first officer. Even though he has captain's rank, he's decided it'll be some time before he takes the chair. So they go to a briefing at Starfleet HQ. I said H. And that's right.
Brit.
Where Stamets basically, what the information they have so far is that they've got this anomaly. It's 5 light years long. It might be, could be a binary black hole, which is like 2 black holes orbiting each other, causing crazy amounts of gravitational distress in the galaxy. But it's undetectable because you can't see black holes unless there's debris around them. So you can only see it when it's destroying things.
There was so much science in this episode. So much science.
Yes, it was very sciencey. It really did a number on me. I get very excited when they do hard science. I get very, very excited because it means I can Google a million things after the episode is done.
I was struggling to keep up. I mean, like when there's science garble on Star Trek, for the most part, it's like,
EPS conduits.
change the main deflector array or something. And this was just like all science about black holes, and you're like, yep, this is probably real.
And as far as we know,
Probably.
theoretically, it's real. I don't know.
Theoretically.
So they're like, they think they've got this thing plotted as to how it's going to go. They know the next system it's going to hit. They're worried about civil unrest. They're going to start evacuating that system because they don't know how to stop it. The president of Nivar, President Tirina, is there and offers the help of the Nivar Science Institute, which I assume carries the same weight as the Vulcan Science Institute did 800 years previous. It's like top scientific minds in the Federation. So Discovery is sent out to get as close to this anomaly as possible and to gather some information and see if anything can be done about it. Saru arrives on the bridge, and they don't know what to call him for a while, but then they decide to call him Mr. Saru, which is lovely.
A little throwback to Mr. Spock, do you think?
Mr. Spock, yes, of course. I don't think we've had a Mr. really in quite some time. I think Janeway used to call people Mr.
Mr. Kim.
When she...
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Paris.
Yes, but I don't think Picard called anyone. He didn't say Mr. Riker.
Did you say Mr. Worf? He did say Mr.
I think
Worf.
he did actually call him Mr. Worf.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I guess Klingons are just first name and then house, so he's Worf, son of Mog. So he wouldn't be called Mr. Son of Mog. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know Saru's last name. This is all ridiculous.
Mr. Data.
Mr. Data. You're right. There's always been misters. You're so right. We need to talk about the misters. So they jump to the anomaly. They analyze it. It's not what they expected. So the theory gets called into question. But in order to get more information, Discovery has to get closer. But it can't get any closer without risking getting basically torn apart by the gravitational waves inside the anomaly. And also a dot drone is going to be too small to get in there and stay intact. So the only option is Book's ship. Thank God they have Book's ship. And Captain Burnham, Michael's like, listen, we'll get Detmer and Oeshikun and Adira on that ship, and they'll go in there and they'll do some sciencey stuff. But Book, who is still somewhat distraught and not really processing well, asks to speak to the captain in person. And he demands, he says, you can't stop me from going in there because this anomaly destroyed my planet and I'm going in there no matter what. You know what? Can you hit me with the Book music? Yeah. Listen here, Michael. I may not be handling the pressure well, but there's no way you're going to stop me from going in there with my ship. I'm the best pilot for this mission, and I love you, girl, and I will be back. Book out. Okay, wait, that's I mean, listen, we're not trying to make babies here. So, yes.
I'm so glad we have Discovery back because I have missed that.
We missed the Book slow jam. I forgot about it until literally a second ago. That anytime you spoke, we did it as a boy.
I'm so glad I rearranged all my sound effects. They were easily found.
Me too. I forgot that Book can only be quoted as a Barry White voiceover. So, Book basically, he's going to go to the mattresses. He's not going to let them use the ship without him. He wants to go in there. Meanwhile, in what I assume is sick bay, we find out that Gray is going to get a new body. And how are they going to make that new body?
Did they call it incorporated?
Incorporated.
Which is technically makes sense, but it does sound like he's a business.
Yes, he's going to be incorporated. He's going to be a limited lending company, and I don't know. So, they're going to use a technology from this old, ancient cobwebs covered technology from 800 years ago, invented by some dude named Alton Inigo Soong, which was used on some captain named Picard. I don't know. And
who?
Yeah, what? Well, it's interesting because I did at first. I was like, they would know who Picard is, but then I was like, no, of course not. They were like decades before Picard.
Oh, that's right. They were before Picard and then after.
Yeah,
so
they have no idea about Picard and the Enterprise and all the stuff that happened. I mean, apart from maybe reading history, but they don't know how big of a deal
True.
He may or may not have been. In any case, I like that little crossover nod to the Picard series. And they're sort of discussing, Gray's guilt at feeling happy about being able to incorporate into his body and possibly being able to become a Trill once more and becoming a Guardian and so on and so forth. It's very exciting. Note to all, Gray decides to have a mole removed from his hand that he just had never really cared for. And, Culber and Adira are supportive. Meanwhile, Michael speaks with Saru in her ready room. In another toss to sort of Picard, her ready room is also a holo suite. So if you may remember Picard, that he had that fancy office that was a holo suite. Yeah. I thought it was cute. I like the holo suite.
I really liked that. I was like, because when they came out of it, she was in her ready room. I was like, whoa.
So now she can be like, come, and you walk in and you're, on the cliffs of Navarre overlooking Lake Huron. And the captain's like, listen here, mister. Anyway, I hope they use that more. And we also find out that Disco's computer has given itself a name. It has called itself Zora.
Mm-hmm. Zora the Explorer.
Zora the Explorer. Ha 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 ha. But Michael's basically asked Saru there to ask for advice on Book. And basically they come to the decision that, look, Book is right for the job. And as a captain, Michael knows that. But as a partner and friend, perhaps she is concerned for his well-being. And so Saru cautions, saying maybe we'll just do some added safety measures, like have a programmable matter tether. And so that's what they're going to do. And they're going to send Stamets as a holo. He'll be a holo on the ship with Book. So just be Book alone with the holograph of Stamets. And Stamets is a little freaked out because he and Book do not necessarily get along. And there's a little bit of beef in there because Book once used the spore drive and Stamets used to be the only one who could do it. But Book, because he's this magical space druid, can also do it. Anyway, Stamets, holo is on board. Grudge freaks out because she can't smell holo. She doesn't like it. Book is a little standoffish, but they get in gear. They go into the anomaly. They immediately encounter debris. The ship gets really destroyed, kind of jacked up. Navigation goes. Book is periodically having these sort of waking hallucinations or sort of like flashbacks of seeing his nephew Leto running on Quajon, and it temporarily distracts him, and Stamets is constantly having to pull him back. Meanwhile, the gravitation waves from the anomaly, which should not be happening, are wreaking havoc on Discovery, basically throwing everyone up in the air and then dropping them on the ground. It's hilarious. It's something a giant toddler would do. The Disco crew is injured, but Tilly and Adira are specifically working on solutions on how to predict further gravitational waves. Discovery has to back off because it can't take any more of those. So they're going to have to lose the tether to Book's ship, and they'll need to figure out a way to get him and the information out. Even though Book has no navigation, Stamets needs more time. Book and Stamets, I wouldn't say they bond as they work, but they start talking finally. The scan gets completed, but they can't transport them back to Discovery because of all the interference. So they've got to get the ship out. Meanwhile, Tilly and Adira discover that the gravitational waves are like waves. And then Lieutenant Commander Bryce, or just Lieutenant Bryce? I think he got a promotion to Commander.
I'm not sure.
I think he might be Lieutenant Commander Bryce now.
Okay.
I'll look. We could Google it. I don't know. I mean,
you want to Google it?
Sure. I got to. You can Google that. You can Google that. You can Google that. Well, I found out that his first name is Ronald. And
Ronald?
Yeah, Ronald Bryce. Ronald A. Bryce. I don't know why I find that funny. It says that he's a commander, so he must be Lieutenant Commander Bryce. Anyway, so
okay.
Lieutenant Commander Bryce is like, I used to do windsurfing. Basically, they can windsurf out if they can catch one of those gravity waves. And they'll because he has no navigation, they'll have to do it with Michael sensing the gravity waves and telling Book when to go. He misses the first one and he starts hallucinating again, and no one can reach out to him. He's not responding to Stamets. He's not responding to Michael. That's when Saru encourages Michael to reach out to Book directly, not as a captain, but as his partner. And she's able to get him to focus and at least trust her, to close his eyes and have faith in her and the crew that they are there with him, even though he's in there alone with only a holograph. And they manage to gun it and hit a gravity wave, and they surf out. And Tilly gives praise to Adira, who Adira's been trying to sort of impress Tilly this whole time. So that's really awesome. Book and Stamets have a nice moment once the incredibly jacked up ship is back in the bay, where Stamets thanks Book finally for doing the spore drive jump to save Culber and Adira at the end of season 3. And Book, in reference to something that Stamets tried to do as a conversation starter earlier, mentions that his arms do tingle when he operates the spore drive. And then Stamets leaves. There are this is sort of the end of the episode. There's like 3 big moments. Gray and Adira have a moment in Adira's quarters where basically Adira admits that they've been feeling some sort of like flashbacks of the shock of the moment that they lost Gray, because it was a similar sort of like abrupt ship crash, bleed out, death on the floor thing. Tilly and Culber have a moment because Culber's he's still doing his soft touch, sort of like, I want to call it a like unofficial ship's counselor thing, where people come to him for advice and to talk. And Tilly's been going through some stuff, and so she's able to ask Culber to basically to enter into counseling with him. And then Michael and Book have a moment finally where Book begins to mourn the loss of all his people. The very last scene is one in which Tilly says, having analyzed some of the data, they don't really have like a full idea of things, but apparently the direction the anomaly was traveling changed when Discovery arrived, as in the reason the gravitational waves were hitting Discovery was because they should have been in a safe place, but the anomaly changed direction, so it was hitting Discovery with gravitational waves. There's no scientific explanation for that, and that means the anomaly is even more anomalous and incredibly unpredictable. Here endeth Episode 2, Season 4, Star Trek Discovery, Anomaly.
How are they going to fix this? I mean, it's not like it's a villain that they can defeat.
I couldn't agree more. I think we need to chat about that.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
I say, darling, let's do a quick chat about that.
Let's go.
So?
Yeah, of course you're so right. I have no idea what, like, even if they could figure out, like, how do you stop 2 black holes from
eating everything in the universe?
Yes. I think it's weird. And does this mean that it's sentient if it changed directions, or is it random, or is it being controlled somehow that it can turn around?
Who would have the power to do that? And
I don't know. But there's some music that we definitely cannot play on our podcast that might be is my theory as to who might be behind this destructive anomaly.
It's Section 31.
It's definitely not Section 31.
I don't think it's Section 31. We can play that. I just don't think we ever should.
No,
I forgot
agree.
that existed.
Oh, I love that. I always couldn't find. I don't know where the chain is. I've put it somewhere.
It's all right. It's probably for the best. We don't need that kind of heat coming
Yeah.
from.
Oh, found it.
Oh, yeah. I just have no idea who may or may not be in charge of this strange anomaly. Couldn't say.
Couldn't say. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a great tune.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. And also I really enjoyed the reference to Picard, that Alton, the Sung research is still being used. And they were able to dig it out for Gray. I think it'll be cool because it's like, yeah.
I mean, I love the fact that this is ancient research, and that was sort of just a quick comment that it couldn't really be used after that. Like, it worked for Picard, and then that was more or less the end of it, or it didn't work for too long. So we got some sort of reference as to, potentially how long it might last for Picard or not.
Right. Well, it seems like it's the issue is transferring one's consciousness properly, and that perhaps because Gray has gone through the Trill consciousness exchange process. Wow, new tongue twister. Since Gray has gone through the Trill consciousness exchange process, that he might be more able to handle the shift, and also because I guess he's not going from like a corporeal body into the Sung body. He's going from incorporeal into the Sung body. But how do they do that? They're going to use the symbiote to get Gray's mind into the new body? Is that,
I don't know. I kind of missed I say science and air quotes on that one.
well, I mean, look, the body thing makes sense. It makes sense because we know, but I don't understand how, because Gray is incorporeal and only exists and can be seen by Adira, except for the time that they were all on the planet that was subject to the weird science. You're right. The science is weird. We probably shouldn't overthink about it.
I was wondering if it could be kind of a Doctor on Voyager type thing where he becomes a hologram with a little, stickery thing on his jacket where he could walk around and things. But then again, the question of how do we get his consciousness into it?
Right. I assume the consciousness is inside the symbiote.
Who's got the symbiote?
Adira?
Blue. Adira. Yes. Sorry, Blue's the actor. The actor.
The actor.
The actor. So
I
the
think
symbiote
Adira has the symbiote because they went through that whole process. Remember where they had to go into a pool and
yes, right.
against the memory of it or whatever. And who was there with them? I forget. Was that Michael with them? Oh, Michael was with them. That's nice. Mm-hmm. Good captain material. Okay. Definitely. So, yes. Ooh. What else? Oh, can we talk about how Culber is basically the unofficial ship's counselor?
Yes. I love that.
I think it's great.
Yeah, and he was counseling people as he was fixing them up from the whole gravity burst thing. I quite like that.
Oh, the gravity burst was super cool. I love they were doing the stop motion matrix stuff as they
until he was like, "Oh, yep, it's happening. 1, 2, now."
Yeah, now quickly. Yeah, you're right. He's fixing people's faces and broken ribs and stuff. And he's like, it's only because they respect you so much. You can never tell what's going on. It's hard to determine determination versus greed. Just killing it. He's fixing everybody and fixing everything. And even Tilly, who I think is normally sort of the unofficial sort of ship's counselor to people.
Yeah.
Is now. And I seem to remember Culber, didn't he have the same relationship with Detmer last season when Detmer was kind of going through some...
Yeah, I don't think we really resolved whatever happened with Detmer.
I think there was a conversation where Detmer was like, it would be great if we could talk more.
Yeah.
And Culber was like, I'd like that. So I feel like Culber's up due for a promotion or something. I don't know. Maybe. He's already ship's doctor, but...
What do you think's going on with Tilly then?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. It's definitely not just about Nahlas and the station, because Tilly was already sort of out of sorts during the dedication ceremony in episode 1.
I'm wondering whether they're going to use this. Maybe it's a bit too simple as an opportunity to have somebody with mental health issues.
But I feel like we sort of, it could be that. I think we dealt with post-traumatic stress with Detmer last season.
We did, but that was incident specific. I wonder if this is, potentially going to be something else. But then
a long-term situation.
Yeah, I don't know. But then you would imagine that point in the future, we would have been able to resolve certain health issues.
Well, perhaps with the resolution we find is that counseling can,
maybe,
therapy is required. I mean, certainly in the 24th century with Counselor Troy, I'm sure there was medication, but it seemed like people needed to also go through counseling in order to resolve certain issues. So I would be interested in that. I would be interested in that. And I would love to see, I'm enjoying that Culber's role is advanced and we don't just see him in sickbay. And I'm wondering if that's the goal, is that he'll be ship's counselor and sort of be on the bridge like Troy was, part of the bridge crew, as opposed to,
but then
because they do have that other doctor.
Do they?
Remember the doctor? She's got braids. I forgot what her name is. She was only for
Oh yes, that's right.
I can't remember who she was, but she was holding things down too. So I feel
for crisis mode, she was there.
Yeah. So, that whole, I think the end of season 2 before when Culber's like, I think I'm going to leave, and then decides to stay and go into the future. It's a different doctor.
Interesting.
Anyway, I would love to see Dr. Culber on the bridge all the time. Then we can have all of our friends on the bridge, except Stamets, who is happier.
And Jet Reno has not made an appearance yet.
Well, Jet will make an appearance. I wonder, I was thinking maybe there would be an appearance like this episode when things were going like completely pear-shaped.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming there'll be some like really crazy engineering structural issue, and Jet Reno's going to show up and give Stamets what for when he's spiraling.
It's so funny because now I feel like she's such an integral part of the crew. To not see her in certain crucial moments where the ship's breaking apart.
Yeah.
You know, because like when it was Tilly and Adira having to figure that out, I was like, oh, I feel Jet should be somewhere in the middle of this.
Should be calling down to engineering. Well, the ship is a little weird because they don't go to warp very much. It's a lot of black alert. They've been doing a lot of spore drive jumps. So it'll be interesting. I'm sure there will be, well, I know, but I don't know what the cause will be. And I feel like it'll be, when it comes, it'll be like very satisfying. Maybe a little bit more focus on Reno when she appears, as opposed to like just in the background. Like, you know, one of those, like the Data episode. It'll be like a Reno episode.
Yeah.
I would love a Reno episode. Anyway.
Yes, we can but hope.
You can but hope. And I have one final thing that I found interesting. Maybe maybe it's a little tinfoily, who knows? But since they mentioned early on, the president of Navarre is like, you can come to the Navarre Science Academy Institute. That maybe since we're headed back to Navarre, we get to see Michael's mom, perhaps more Killer Romulan warrior nuns.
Perhaps Killer Warrior Romulan nun.
Killer Warrior Romulan. We'll see more Killer Romulan.
Oh, one last thought I had. It's a bit silly, but did you notice Michael's comfy ready room?
Oh yeah, with the couches
lovely
and
decor,
the like crate and barrel chairs and stuff. Of course,
little throws over the chairs.
Well, they have programmable matter, so they can make it look like whatever they want, I guess.
That's true.
No longer the uncomfortable sort of weird felt of the Picard's Enterprise. And I remember Janeway had a very comfy ready room. She
had a little side area.
She had that like
she quite liked
that kitchen nook, right?
Yes.
Not a kitchen, but like a nook bench window thing, which is always nice. Anyway, I like a comfy ready room. Yeah.
Yes.
This was nice. This felt like it's like the set of a sitcom.
It did a bit. I think it was the long, the long
that
sofa,
long shot. Exactly,
the long curved sofa. That's
you
what
could see all the friends on it.
Yeah, you could see like someone interviewing a boy band on it or something.
That's very Today Show. You know, you're right.
Very Today Show.
Totally right. Well, yes. So curious. I'm loving where they went with episode 2. I am really concerned about this anomaly. I don't know what it is or how it can be fixed, even if it can be. And I'm glad to see Saru back, and hopefully that super tender moment where he and Tilly talk at the beginning, and then they go into the turbo lift, and he puts his arm on her back and pats her up. I was like tearing up. It was so wonderful.
Yeah, and he had a super cute, tender moment with Michael and their little hug. Because I was honestly wondering how they were going to hug because he's so tall.
It was so cathartic. I felt like I was getting a hug from Saru. Very cathartharic. Saru gets
maybe
great
one
hugs.
day you will get a hug from Saru at Comic-Con.
That's right. I'll wear my platform shoes, my 3-inch platform, so that I can reach up to Saru and hug him like Michael did.
And then you'll go off and do an ABBA tribute band.
That's right.
In your platforms.
You know me.
I do.
I'm a dancing queen.
Fact.
What can I say?
Does your mama know that you're out?
No, but I'm young and I'm only 17 or something. You mean my Mamma Mia. So shall we move on to quotable moments and stop doing ABBA puns? Because I could do this all day.
Oh, I could do this all day. That needs to be another episode.
This is a different... Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Quotable moments. Quotable moments. What do we have? I have two. I have two small ones.
I have many, but we don't need to do all. I wrote 8.
Oh, good Lord.
But I was just there typing and clacking away.
Super quotable for you, this one.
I don't want to take yours. So which ones do you have?
All right. From Saru to Michael in the ready room, in the very comfy ready room, if loss has taught us anything, it's that each of us must sit with pain in our own way.
Beautiful.
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 Lovely wisdom from Saru. And from Tilly to Saru. Are you taller? You seem taller. Are you sure? I just quite liked that little...
I did like that. That was very cute.
Cute.
Also, Tilly had a few great quick one-liners. I loved when she sort of had to yell at Adira, and then Culber comes over and is fixing her chin, and she goes, "I'm like Stametsing right now."
Yes.
Which is really great. Yeah, and Culber goes like, "We're all under a lot of pressure." Perfect person to say that to. And I also loved when Adira and Tilly figure out when the next gravitational wave is. They run onto the bridge and they say, Tilly says, "Captain, good news. We know when the next disturbance is going to hit. Bad news. It's in 2 seconds." I thought that was great. And well, this is a very sweet thing. That same moment in the turbo lift. Right before they walk in, when Tilly's saying it's weird how life is so short, so brief, just a heartbeat in the universe, and it's gone in a second. And Saru says, "How we choose to spend our moments in the short time that we have matters." I thought that was very sweet.
Very sweet. Well,
I guess. I mean, I hate to say goodbye, but it's time for next time.
It's time for next time.
On Set Phasers.
Next time on Set Phasers, spoiler alert, I wrote down the thing about maybe having killer Romulan warrior nuns in the next episode, but guess what episode 3 of season 4 is called?
What's it called, Aki?
It's called Choose to Live. My friends, choose to live. It's definitely going to have killer warrior nuns.
What are they called?
Milat?
Coat Milat, thank you.
Milat, maybe?
Coat Milat.
Coat Milat, my lord.
We got a sneak preview, I think, on the Star
you
Trek
did?
Instagram, I believe.
I
yes.
missed it. I'm
Or
not
there
on
was
Instagram.
it was certainly a teaser. Let's call it a teaser.
So we're definitely getting Coat Milat.
Coat Milat.
Nice.
Well, perhaps Michael's mum, as you say.
Well, what's the lost cause? Well, we'll find out
I
what the
don't
lost
know.
cause is. The point is,
Well, this
next
is a
week-
lost cause.
Okay.
This entire anomaly is a lost cause.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you were talking about me.
You,
You're a lost
silly
cause, bro.
Billy.
Okay, well, next week we'll be discussing episode 3 of season 4 of Discovery. Thank you so much for joining us, you out there in podcast land. If you enjoy the program, you can listen to it. It comes out every Monday, and you can get it wherever podcasts come from. And we'd love for you to share it with your friends.
Absolutely. And of course, you can join us on Patreon, as we mentioned. You can watch the episodes live as they happen. You can get early access to the video and audio episodes, as well as join our Netflix /Paramount Plus / we haven't figured that out yet. Watch parties monthly. Patreon.com/setphasers. Until then, check out our back episodes. If you're a Star Trek fan, we have a ton. I think we've got like 7 seasons of Star Trek that we have reviewed thus far, including
Holy
1 or 2 movies here and there. So go and check it out wherever you get your podcasts.
You took my Patreon thing, so I'll say we're on Facebook and Instagram at Set Phasers Podcast, and please follow us and join in the conversations. All things Trek. Stevie has a very strong meme game, and I think the memes will only get stronger. Perhaps video memes.
One tries. And if you in fact check out our Instagram, I did a special Set Phasers cocktail edition where you could make your own Romulan ale fizz. So do go and check that out on our podcast. Do go and check that out on our Instagram at Set Phasers Podcast.
Yes,
Stop
and I forgot
dancing. Stop
that
dancing,
I
you
danced
crazy
during this.
fiend.
This is to promote our Patreon.
Is
If
it?
you support Patreon and you can watch us live, then you get to see me dancing during the outro, and it's pretty exciting.
Yes, and we also forget what's going on. Until next time, I am Stevie Mans.
And I am a binary black hole that is undetectable without debris. This has been Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast.
Oh, computer. End program.